Okay, today we're going to be talking about podcasting. And so, if you didn't know already, we actually started a podcast a couple months ago, and that's been on my mind because yesterday, actually, Spotify, bought Anchor. And Anchor is a young podcasting platform that enables people to pretty much set up a podcast super simply. They can edit it, they can record it, everything. And so Spotify actually just bought Anchor, and right before that, Spotify also bought Gimlet. And Gimlet is another podcasting content creation platform. Basically, think of them as Netflix of podcasters. So they work with podcasters on exclusive deals, and then they can be like, oh, we're with you, and then they get them advertising contracts and all of that. And so I want to bring this up because I think podcasting, even though it's been really popular lately, I think it has the opportunity to actually explode even further. So the podcast industry right now is about $330 million. And so that's obviously pretty big, but next year it's expected to reach $670 million. And so that's over 100% year-over-year growth. And so we see all these podcasts popping up. People are like, there's too many podcasts. How do we do this? There's just too much. But I think that some of the areas that are problems right now, like podcast discovery, how do we find the best podcasts? If you go to YouTube or you go to Netflix, they've kind of done a really good job of filtering and bringing you the best content possible. But with podcasts, that's not great. I mean, you could go to iTunes and they kind of show what's new, what are kind of the best podcasts out there, and that's a decent way to do it. But in other platforms, especially Android, there's no real good way to kind of filter and discover new podcasts. And so I think some of those issues will actually kind of filter themselves out and they'll get fixed. But it's just interesting thinking that I think even now we're at the early growth stages of podcasting, because think of it, not everybody, but there's a good amount of people that have a commute to work. And so just thinking about that, if you are listening to music for an hour both ways, then sure, you can maybe relax that way. But if you could use that 2-hour time period to actually learn and grow, I think that's just becoming way more palatable and way more exciting to people. And so I think we're even still now in the early days of podcasting. Plus, AirPods have really been a tailwind because you can just have those things in at all times. And so these just were some thoughts in my mind as Spotify kind of validated this thesis even more, that podcasting is really in the early days. And so I think just check out Investing City Podcast, because I think that we have some good guests coming up. We have some guests that I know you're really going to want to listen to. So check us out. We're growing pretty quickly. And yeah, it'd just be awesome if you could check out the Investing City Podcast on iTunes, everything else. So yeah, really appreciate you. Have a good one.